Chris, what is our first main topic today?
Our first topic comes from Slim Cam. Hey, John and crew. So Charlie Cox was recently interviewed talking about the upcoming Daredevil Born Again show. And when they asked him if it could be a continuation, he said no. It's a season 1, not a season 4, and that everything is brand new. To me, this further brings home the point that Netflix shows aren't canon. But what do you think of his comments, and does it sway your excitement for the new show going forward?
All right, thanks a lot for sending that in. And yeah, listen, I've been saying for a long time that I don't believe that the Daredevil, the Charlie Cox that we see that popped up in Spider-Man No Way Home is the actual same Daredevil, Matt Murdock, that we saw in the Netflix series. It was clear that the Kingpin we saw in Hawkeye was not the identical Kingpin to the one that we had in the Netflix series because he simply had a different backstory and he now had abilities and powers that he never had before. So whenever I would say that, a lot of people would get very mad at me insisting this is season 4. Even a lot of the outlets refer to the upcoming Daredevil project, Daredevil Born Again, as Daredevil season 4. But Charlie Cox has, over the last couple of months, made comments that we've discussed here on the show that make it sound like this is going to be a new thing. Yes, it is the same actors. They're probably going to try to capture a lot of what they had in the Netflix series. But apparently this isn't the same. And he said something this weekend that is more poignant towards that than I think we've ever heard him say before. This is what Charlie Cox had to say. When asked about it, he said this: I think that the sense is it is a new beginning. It is going to be different. It is going to be totally different. It is going to be new stories and new ideas. It is a season 1. It is not season 4. So it is a whole new thing, which I think is the way to go. If you are going to do it again, do it differently. So that comes to us from Charlie Cox, the star of Daredevil himself. So look, does this now 100% confirm that the Netflix shows are not canon to the MCU? No. I look, as much as I've been saying this is not the exact same ones for a long time, I would not go so far as to say that this now locks it. It's guaranteed, done, no more discussion about it. The Netflix series are not canon. I would not go that far. But I would say that it makes me believe that even more, hearing this coming from Charlie Cox. So anything is possible here. Anyway, Chris, we've talked about this before, about whether this is the actual same Daredevil that we had in the previous thing. I mean, we saw clips of him in She-Hulk. He's wearing a completely different costume. He says it's totally going to be different. Now he straight up is saying, this is totally brand new. This is not season 4. This is season 1. What do you think about his comments, and where does that leave you as far as your thought processes, whether or not this is the actual Netflix Daredevil or not?
You know, I went into this very optimistic and telling people constantly, hey, no, it's not going to be like goofy chuckle, fuck Daredevil, calm down. It's fine. He's not going to be some goofball. And I still don't think that, but it does give me pause that this is a totally new version of this. I was really hoping we were doing this kind of cafeteria style. Take what works and leave behind what you don't want on the tray. You know what I mean? And so I was hoping that it would just be Daredevil that fits into the MCU as we know it, taking the things that we liked from that, maybe readjusting some of the things that happened in season 3, changing that storyline with the Hand a little bit just to kind of fit the events of what's happening now. I really believe in this show, though. I really believe in this cast. I love Charlie Cox in this role, and obviously Vincent D'Onofrio is wonderful.
He's born to play this role.
He's so good. And the version he did in Echo, honestly, wasn't too far off from what we'd seen. We just weren't seeing him do, horrific acts of violence or staring menacingly at a painting.
Wearing Hawaiian shirts.
Wearing Hawaiian shirts. And you know what? Sometimes you got to change up your fashion. That's fine. So I'm still hoping that this show delivers, but I'm trying to just let it be what it wants to be and not bring in the previous seasons with me. I can always go back to those. Those were quality television. It stands still as one of my favorite opening sequences. I know you're not as keen on it, but I really enjoyed that show. And if this one doesn't yes and it for me, that's okay.
You know, it's pretty funny because you go back to those old shows and whatever. With Marvel now embracing Multiverse, I mean, you can very easily have your cake and eat it too. Mm-hmm. You can say, well, no, the Netflix shows were in a way canon. This is just a variant of that Daredevil and a variant of that King. I mean, there's a lot of different ways they could approach it. or they'll go heavy one way or the other. Rob, you're now hearing what Charlie Cox has to say. What do you think about his comments specifically? And like I asked Chris, where does that leave your thought process of, is this the Netflix one? Is it not? How does that shape it?
Well, being that we are in the middle of the multiverse saga, I have no problem with them starting again. I mean, even the Born Again storyline it was mined for Mark Steven Johnson's Daredevil movie with Ben Affleck. But if they went back and they even made it more like the comics as opposed to less what Marvel usually does, I think it could be a great way to introduce the character. And it can be, I mean, the fact that they keep the same actor, why fix it if it ain't broke? You know, he's a great Daredevil. Bring him back. Same with Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin. And now the Marvel Cinematic Universe is in such a place where they can go back and do a soft reboot, whatever. Give us a new Daredevil the way that the MCU would do it.
Right.
And it doesn't decanonize in a way. They've shown
the Netflix series.
The Sam Raimi movie, the Mark Webb movies, all the Spider-Man movies are now canon. Theoretically, different universes. This, we got the same actor in a different iteration of the character, which I think is great. And I think it's believable. They'll give us the MCU version. We've already seen him in Spider-Man No Way Home. And while he cracked a joke, it was a badass joke.
It was a great joke.
I'm a good lawyer. I mean, that's
wonderful.
Yeah, I mean, that was his introduction.
And Matt can be quippy. He is in the comics. It's fine.
Well, he is in the Netflix series too. He can be very quippy.
He can be quippy, but as a badass. And all I can tell you, John, is one of the things that I didn't like about the Daredevil series is how the Hand was portrayed. Even Elektra, I love the actress that played Elektra, but I thought they could lean into it more. And if we get more ninjas, come on.
I mean, look, and I think there are going to be some people that read Charlie Cox's comments and feel upset because we're so invested in the Netflix series. But like we were saying, like the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man universe and the Tobey Spider-Man universe, the MCU is now acknowledging those are out there. It's not this universe, but those actually happened. And one of the smart things it does is it allows the people who are going to be running Daredevil Born Again the flexibility that this means if this is a new version of them, it means we can bring whatever we want over from the Netflix shows.
Yes.
But if there are elements we didn't think worked so well, we can do them all over again with a different actor and a different background, and it's still consistent with the MCU. I'm thinking of something like Iron Fist? No. What's his name?
Yeah, Iron Fist and Luke Cage.
Yeah, like Iron Fist is like, obviously that one didn't work so well in Netflix.
No.
So it gives them the opportunity to say, hey, it's the Daredevil you kind of remember. It's the Kingpin you kind of remember. And now, ladies and gentlemen, Pauly Shore is Iron Fist, or like anybody else, a new actor is Iron Fist, and it remains consistent. It gives them flexibility to bring, hey, so John Bernthal, that is totally feasible. They could at some point bring him over to play Punisher. It doesn't exclude that, but they can dodge it if they want. So it's a pretty good idea. Anyway, guys, question is for you. Where has your thinking been on whether or not this is actually the identical, absolute same Charlie Cox, Matt Murdock, Daredevil that we had in the Netflix series? And now that you've read the newest statement from Charlie Cox, does it alter that at all? Maybe it doesn't. Whatever you guys are thinking, jump down into the comment section below and leave your thoughts there. Hey guys, we want to thank one of the sponsors of today's video, Betterhelp. Let me ask you something. How well would you take care of your car if you knew that was going to be the only car you ever had for your entire life? Well, that's how our brains and our minds work. So why don't we treat them the same way? Because how we take care of our minds will affect how we experience life. So it's important to invest time and care into keeping it healthy. Now, there are plenty of ways to support a healthy brain, like learning a new language or taking power naps, but there's also BetterHelp online therapy. Now, I've talked about this before, but I've never understood this stigma attached to people wanting to seek out ways to improve their mental health. When somebody decides to go to the gym to improve their physical health, we think that's great. Well, that's the same way we need to look at taking care of our mental health as well. BetterHelp is online therapy that offers video, phone, and even live chat-only therapy sessions. So you don't have to see anyone on camera if you're not comfortable with that. And it's much more affordable than in-person therapy. So guys, listen, right now, the John Campea Show viewers and listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/Campea. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Campea.